I've been praying for a genuine outpouring of God, a genuine revival that would go across the lands, the nations, that people would be revived and turn back to God.
once was lost in sin, but Jesus took me in. And then a little light from heaven filled my soul. It made my heart in love and wrote my name above. And just a little talk with Jesus made me whole.
Now let us have a little talk with Jesus.
Let us
Tell him all about our trouble.
He will hear our
Faintest cry.
you, Jesus.
I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like. And I've heard the tender whisper of love, the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. And I know we're all searching for answers far and wide, but I know that we're all searching for answers only you provide, and you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. 'Cause you're perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. 'Cause you're perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. 'Cause you're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father.
Thank you, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace it taught my heart to heal, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. As my chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood, His mercy rained, unending love, amazing grace. The Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secure. He will my shield and portion me as long as life endures. My chains are gone. I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow. The sun forbear to shine. But God who called me here below will be forever mine. My chains are gone. I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. My chains are gone. I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. Unending love, amazing grace.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
As I journey through the land, singing as I go, pointing souls to Calvary, to the crimson flow. Many arrows pierce my soul from without within, but my Lord leads me on. Through Him I must win. Oh, I want to see Him and look upon His face. There to sing forever of His saving grace. On the streets of glory, just let me lift my voice. Tears all pass, hope and lies, ever to rejoice. When in service for my Lord, dark may be the night, but I'll bring more close to Him, and He will give me light. Satan's snares may vex my soul, turn my thoughts aside, but my Lord goes ahead, leads what every time. Oh, now, oh, I want to see Him and look upon His face, there to sing forever of His saving grace. Oh, the streets of glory, oh, let me lift my voice. Tears all past, home and last, ever to rejoice. When in valleys low I look toward the mountain height, and behold my Savior there, leading in the fight. With the tender hand that stretched toward the valley low, guiding me, I can see as I onward go. Oh, now, oh, I want to see Him, oh, look upon His face. Oh, there to sing forever of His saving grace. Oh, the streets of my bark, he does safely keep. And he leads me gently on through this world below. He's a real friend to me. Oh, I love him so. Oh, I want to see him, look upon his face, there to sing forever of his saving grace. Oh, the streets of glory, let me live my voice. Cares all my home and life, never to There's a light in the window, table spread and splendor, and someone is standing by an open door. Oh, and I can see a crystal river. Lord, I must be here forever. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. Oh, see the bright light shine. It's just about home time, and I can see my Father standing, oh, at the door. This world's been a wilderness. I'm ready for deliverance. Oh, Lord, I've never been this homesick before. I can see the family gathering, sweet faces, all familiar. Oh, but no one is old or feeble anymore. Oh, and this lonesome heart is crying. I think I'll spread my wings for flying. Oh, Lord, I've never been this homesick before. Oh, see the bright light shine. It's just about home tonight, and I can see my Father standing at the door. This world's been a wilderness. I'm ready for deliverance. Oh, Lord, I've never been this homesick before. I can see my family gathering, faces all familiar. Oh, but no one is old or feeble anymore. Oh, and this lonesome heart is crying. I think I'll spread my wings for flying. Oh, Lord, I've never been this homesick before. Oh, see the bright
in the window. The table is spread in splendor, and someone is standing by the open door. I can see the crystal river. Oh Lord, I must be here forever. Oh Lord, I've never been this homesick before.
Can't you see the bright
Light shine, it's just about home time, and I can see my Father standing at the door. This world has been a wilderness, and I'm ready for deliverance. Lord, I've never been this homesick before.
Can't you see the bright
Light shine, it's just about home time, and I can see my Father standing at the door. This world's been a wilderness. I'm ready for deliverance. Oh Lord, I've never been this homesick before. See, I can see the family gathering. Faces are all familiar. Oh, but no one is old or feeble anymore. Oh, and this lonesome heart is crying. I think I'll spread my wings for flying. Oh Lord, I've never been this homesick before. Oh, see the bright light shine. It's just about home time, and I can see my Father standing at the door. This world's been a wilderness. I'm ready for deliverance. Oh Lord, I've never been this homesick before. How many of you look around at this world and it makes you homesick? Yes, amen. It makes you ready to go. Sister Angie will come, ready for a good word. She said God gave her something for us.
All right, if everybody will turn to Matthew chapter 22, verse 36 to 39. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? And Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the freedom, Lord, to walk into your house tonight, to pack our Bibles, to come into your house, to lift up your name, to worship you, to praise you. And Father, I ask that you help me to speak the word that you've given me. And Lord, I ask you to give us an understanding, Father, tonight of everything you want us to hear and to know. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Have a seat. You know, when you get on an airplane, they set you down and the flight attendant comes on and she begins to tell you all the safety precautions and all the when to stand up and when not to and da-da-da-da-da. And one of the things they tell you is if the cabin pressure drops, there will be an oxygen mask that will drop down in front of you. Get this oxygen mask, place it on your nose and your mouth, and breathe normally. And then they tell you, be sure to fix your own mask before you fix your neighbor's. And I thought about that because we're taught growing up, put everybody else before ourselves, which we should. We're taught from the moment that we are a young child, share your toys. That may be yours, but you share that. You help, and everybody plays together, and everybody shares together. And then as we grow up, it's still, if I have a can of peas, and you need a can of peas, you can have my can of peas and I'll have some carrots. We share. We're taught to share as we grow. And that is all well and good except for when it comes to some things. And we are taught to love our neighbors, which means to love everybody around us. But we can't love everybody around us till we first love us, till we love ourselves. And we can't love ourselves until we first love God. We have to start with God. He has to be the beginning. We start with Him, and we fully and completely seek Him and surrender our hearts to Him, and then He moves into us, and His love moves into us, and we see ourselves through His eyes, through the image that He has created us to be. We begin to not see ourselves as the destruction that everybody else might see us as, but we see ourselves with a purpose and with a plan, and then we can love all of those around us because His love begins to flow through us. And we are supposed to love with that kind of love. But sometimes life throws us curveballs, and life makes it not quite so easy sometimes. You know, if you're driving down the road and John Henry has thrown his hammer out in the road and you run over it and you have to replace your whole entire tire and wheel and everything, then the next time you drive past John Henry's house, you want to throw rocks at his mailbox. But when you surrender your heart to God, then you know that that was probably an accident. So then when you drive past John Henry's house, because you've started your day with God, you want to plant flowers around John Henry's mailbox. So we need God in our lives. We need to start with Him at the beginning. At the beginning of every day, we start with Him, because life throughout that day is going to throw many curveballs in your way, and you don't see them coming. Only God knows what's going to come your way that day. And in order for you to be able to love the way we're supposed to love and to make the right choices, we've got to start with Him. And we've got to let Him help us to make the right choices. I thought of how anger can get such a grip on us. And for some reason, the story that came into my mind was, we've heard of the school shootings. And I thought about the parents who've had to bury the children that didn't come through the school shooting. And I thought of the anger that is bound to grip that heart. And I thought, luckily I've never been through a school shooting. I don't think anybody in here has. But one morning I did get the scare of one. Lucas was in high school, and at that time he was old enough, he was getting up and he was doing his own thing. He would do it and go to school. I'd get up after he was done on the bus. And so this morning I get up and I get a text from my stepson's girlfriend who said, "Angie, don't let Lucas get on the bus." Well, he was already on the bus. And I said, "Okay, why?" And she said, "The cops are in the school. There's a kid in there with a gun." And all of mamas knows we panicked. So I started texting Lucas. And I started saying, "Don't get off the bus. Don't go in the school." And he's not answering. And I'm like, "Just go across. I'm going to meet you at the tennis courts. Do not go in that school." And I'm not getting an answer. And I'm calling him and I'm calling him and I'm still not getting an answer. And then finally, I get an answer. "Mom, I'm good. They told the buses to go to an empty parking lot. We're somewhere else sitting. And I had relief, but for some reason, as I was studying this, I began to think of the anger of the parents that don't get the text message that says, I'm okay. And I thought of how anger can grip us. And we can get into such a place that it's hard to love sometimes. It's hard when your best friend and you've told that one secret that you don't want nobody to know, and then you hear it coming in a million different directions. It's hard to love. It's hard when you go to work and your boss says, oh, you're doing such a great job, and then the next day they say, sorry, we got to let you go. It's hard to trust. It's hard to love. But that's where, once again, we start with God. Because when God's in our lives, we can sometimes see the other side. The parent, the kid that went into the school is also suffering, that went in to do the shooting. There was something that was really troubling the child that caused the whole ordeal to go on. And when we've got God on our side, we begin to see another side. The boss maybe didn't even see that we was going to be let go when they was telling us what an awesome job we were doing. There's always another side. But God gives us compassion, and he gives us that love that flows through us and will flow through others just like we're supposed to have. We have to let him mend us. We have to let him come in. You see, our change has to start on the inside. We can't show forth anything on the outside until it first takes place on our inside. We have to get down to a place with God, and we have to humble ourselves before him. And we have to say, Lord, I need a change. I need a change in my thinking. I need a change in my heart. I need a change in me. And when that true, genuine change comes in and it takes place, then we can show it on the outside. Then we can show forth that compassion, and we can show forth that love. And that's what we are called as Christians to do. But see, the battle begins in our head. A lot of battles that we fight starts with that thought that goes through our mind. And we have to conquer the thought before we can ever conquer the battle. And so God tells us in Colossians chapter 3, verse 2, set your affection, which is set your mind on things above, not on the things of this earth. See, we have to keep our minds set upon God, keeping his word in us, keeping ourselves praying. We are in a day and a time now that we can't go one day and skip a prayer time with God and skip that time when we've got to be with him. We have to keep ourselves focused on him, because we will easily get pulled under if we let ourselves get our eyes off of him. Peter stepped out of the boat, and when his eyes were on Jesus, he was good to go. But the second he took his eyes off, that's when he fell under. We have to keep our eyes set on him because of this day, this hour that's calling us to be more on guard. He said to guard our hearts, protect your hearts, because out of your heart is where your life flows. Our physical bodies can't live without that heart beating and pumping. Our spiritual lives can't live without our spiritual hearts connected to God, who is the power of our existence. And he gives us what we need. And we have to keep feeding ourselves with his word and with a true, genuine relationship with him. Romans chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. For I say, though the grace be given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God has dealt to every man the measure of faith. We have to keep ourselves apart from this world. And God was dealing with me about the things that are going on today. We are so close to the end of time. The word tells us we're not surprised. God didn't say, surprise, things are getting worse. Instead, he sent us his word who said, hey, everything is going to get worse. If we're still here next year, we're going to look back at this year and be like, oh, wow, that was easy, because then we're going to be going through a little something different. But God also dealt with me about our minds and our lips and the gossip and the way that we ourselves are allowing ourselves to get into places that we can't. You see, God's got to a place now, he needs a steady, strong army. He needs a united people that's going to say, Lord, I'm playing the games. I'm done with all the gossip. I want to be sold out. I have decided to make you the Lord of my life, the Lord of every decision that I make, and I'm going to stand with you, and I'm going to walk with you, and I'm done with the games. We have to make our minds up. We cannot play around. It tells us right there not to ever think ourselves highly or higher than anybody else. See, God created every one of us. We all breathe the same air that everybody else breathes. But there's a time that some of us, and I'm not saying you guys, but people in general, are starting to think, I am so much better. I am so close to God, and I am holier than thou. But if you stand and you watch the walk they walk and the talk they talk, they are not holier than thou. We have to watch. And we can't follow after and believe anything and anybody, because there are the fake and the false that's out there, those that may think they are higher and above. But when reality comes and you pull yourself back and you watch the words that come forth out of their mouth, anyone who will trash somebody else, anyone who will degrade somebody else, anyone who will spread a lie about somebody else, don't have God in them, because the love of God does not trash anybody. The love of God rises up. Anybody who will stand and participate in downgrading or discouraging anybody cannot say that they are holier than thou and that they are almighty with God, because God does not degrade. God does not speak through that and make anybody feel in that way. We are to encourage one another. We are to lift one another up. We are to be united and stand, because we are in a battle, a spiritual battle. We can't get people in if all we do is talk and run everybody down. And God said, it's up to us. It's up to me. When I stand before God on Judgment Day, I can't say, well, Jane Fonda told me. And I know that she was really praying hard, and we had to warn the people. He's going to say, I don't care what Jane Fonda did. What did you do? What did you text on that text? What did you say to that person? And then what if he shows us? What if we're standing there and he says, look what this text did in return. Look at the person that gave up on God and backed out of church because of this. Look at the person that drew into depression because of this that was spoken. We answer for us. We will not answer for nobody else. We will not stand there as a group of friends saying, well, you know, they could have done better. No, it's going to be, hey, what did you do? We will answer for me. I will stand for what I've said. I will stand for what I've done. Did I encourage? Did I love? Did I do all that I could do? Did I speak truth? Or did I speak lies? Or did I speak trash? Or did I discourage and run down? It doesn't matter who's better. It doesn't matter, because we're all in it. It matters who's getting up and praying every morning, who's walking the walk, who's doing everything they can to seek God. That is what matters. That is what comes down to. We cannot play the game anymore. God's telling us we are at the end of time. We literally are at the brink of the trumpet sounding. When that trumpet sounds, will you rise, or will you be trying to grab somebody's feet and rise up? You've got to make sure you're ready. We have to be ready. We cannot be left here. We cannot be left. You ever regretted a choice you made? You think about when that trumpet sounds, if we did something and we see them rising, and we that know, we're going to know. And you think about the regret that's going to sink in. I don't want to be in that regret. I don't want to have to be looking up saying, oh no, what do I do now? I want to be looking down saying, I'm so sorry. Or actually, I don't think we're going to realize that, because we're not supposed to. We're going to be a joyful moment. I don't think we're going to be looking down and realizing who's not going. But we've got to get ready, guys. We've got to stop. We've got to make sure that we get ourselves on track with God, and we don't let anything knock us out. We don't, if it's on Facebook, block it so that it doesn't even enter into your mind. If it is on the phone call, block it, because you've got to guard your heart, guard your mind, and stay focused on God. That is what is important in this day and time. And we've got to start trying to reach and bring people in because time is so short. You know the Hebrew word for safety is Yeshua. You know what else Yeshua is? Jesus. We find our safety in Jesus. We find our help in Jesus. We find our freedom in Jesus. We find everything we need in Jesus. We don't have to look to anybody or anything else. We don't need to worry about what Henry down the street's doing. We just need to worry about what am I doing? What am I doing? And making sure we're getting it right. As they come back to the music, I'm going to ask everybody to find a place to pray. Make sure we're getting it right.
Thank you.